Right. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad that you all could make it. My name is Jason Smith. I'm one of the newer members of the ATL Airport Chamber and very happy to be here today on one of our regular Wednesday Wisdom webinars. These webinars are designed to make sure that all of us have a chance to get expertise and guidance from seasoned experts in our community and our network so we can make sure we share with everyone the kind of information that's going to help you learn and grow. Um, One of the things we like to do is to make sure that everybody who comes in kind of has a chance to engage with others, and especially in my sessions when I'm teaching, I always want to make sure that you know that this is not the same kind of class where you're just going to sit and check your emails and go through the rest of your work. We're going to engage, we're going to get active, and we're going to make sure that everybody gets a chance to participate because that's where the learning happens. Let's just talk about a little bit of our goals for today. Today, what we're doing and helping us work on our virtual meetings is not going to be to establish brand new knowledge and things that you've never ever heard before. We're going to start by building on what we already know. Because we're in a post-pandemic world and virtual meetings and virtual presentations are sort of the order of the day, there's a lot of information we already have, a lot of experience. So we're going to use that to just build some new frameworks and some new perspectives. Yes, do we have a question? No? All right. And from those new perspectives, from the new things that you can pick up, not so much in the brand new information, but the new ways they're connected, new ways of looking at it, some new vocabulary. Just take the takeaways that work for you. Just pick what works for you to help you get better engagement, better outcomes from your virtual meetings, and get some proven best practices that we've seen work all over the globe. Me, myself, I've been teaching entrepreneurs for the past 10 years, taught in 8 different countries in about 40 states. So I think that we've got enough experience from everything that I've seen and all the people that I've met and taught me that some of these best practices are working over and over again in many different places to get better outcomes in these virtual worlds. But most importantly, like I said, I want us to have fun today through participation. Participation. See, I'm inventing words today. See, you already got new vocabulary. So to start with that participation, I want all of you guys to use the actual chat function in Zoom. Just go in there right now and tell us who you are. Everybody, just go into the chat, share some information, and just say who you are, where you're from, right? And maybe a little bit about what you do. That would be the most important thing to do. Just share who you are, what you do, and where you're from. And that'd be a great way to start. That would be a great way to start. Okay? So share that information. Make sure everybody knows who you are and what you're doing. Put your information in there. We're watching the chat. We have a few people on to it today that's kind of helping us to check the chat and share information. And while you're looking there, share your information and take the information of the people who are there with you. These are going to be new connections for you, new people for you to meet and network with afterwards, because this is what it's all about. It's expanding our networks and making sure that we all have the time and opportunity to really engage with others in this airport chamber community, right? So, as I said before, we already know a lot about virtual meetings, right? We've all had time and experience working in a virtual world. This is not new to us post-pandemic, and we've all seen a host of different challenges. You wouldn't be here right now if you didn't want your virtual meeting outcomes to get better. So there are several things we see across the nation, across the globe, that are themes of different problems, different challenges that we all see on a regular basis. In preparing for this meeting, I kind of looked at all the different things we've heard, and there's a few categories of things that come up very often, and in no particular order. People usually complain about not getting engagement and attention on these virtual meetings. People are just not, participating in the meetings, not really getting into the content being shared or created, or when they're teaching something for skills, people aren't learning and retaining that so that they can actually have new skills and get better at what they're trying to educate them on. Sometimes it's about getting people to change their behavior, right? They're giving policy updates or announcements from the corporation, and they want everyone to now operate in a different way, and they're not seeing these virtual meetings be successful in getting those long-term outcomes. But sometimes people just complain that they can't get the meetings to work right. The technical execution is the challenge. And so to get that engagement that we talked about, to make sure everybody gets to speak, I want everybody to get ready to introduce yourself to everyone in person because I'm sending you guys to breakout rooms. What we're going to do is let everyone who's here take a few minutes. There's only a few people in your room. You don't have a lot of people in the room. But as you look at the screen right here, everybody who can see my screen, see my slides, I want you to take note of those four categories. And when you go into your breakout rooms, you'll be in your breakout rooms for about 8 minutes, not a long time. I want you and your partner to pick the number one challenge from this list that you see on your screen right now. Pick the number one challenge that you feel is your biggest need, your biggest takeaway from the virtual meetings. And I want you all to share as a group what you think your number one and maybe your runner up number two is for your meetings. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. We're going to come back and talk about it, right? So the breakout rooms are about to start. You're going to see a pop up come up on your screen. All of you all is going to go into that room, share who you are, right? A little bit about you. And I want you guys as a group to decide which do you feel is your number one challenge and the runner up, and why you feel that's your number one challenge, right? Let me see a thumbs up on the screen. Camera's on, guys. You're going to meet new people. Let them see your smiling faces. Thumbs up if you can actually see me, right? Breakout rooms are opening right now. And I will bring you guys back in about 8 minutes. Got any questions? We will see you there. All right. Everybody's hitting off. Good.
Always have something to do.
Absolutely. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave you guys right here in this room. I got Garrett here. Garrett, this is Angelita.
Hey,
Take a
Angelique.
second and you guys introduce yourselves to each other. Make sure y'all know who you are and where you're from. And then I'm going to pose this question to you all, and y'all have this discussion right here in the main room. Okay?
Sure. Hey, Angelita. My name is Garrett Turman. I'm a business owner. I have a photography business, and I'm also an aspiring IT cybersecurity specialist. Uh,
Fantastic.
I'm
Anybody?
from Greensboro, North Carolina, and I live in Atlanta. Forgot to say that.
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome. My name is Angelita Long. I am originally from Jamaica. I grew up in Jamaica. My mom ran a villa. I am a 24-year Army veteran. Now I am a travel concierge and retreat strategist, and I help leaders to reconnect, recharge, and to grow their business using retreat and group group travel experiences.
Oh, nice. So you get the
Living
discount
Warner
on the
Robins.
trips. I used to live in Warner Robins. Did
Oh,
you hear me? Yeah, I used to live in Warner Robins. Shoot, in 93 to 96.
oh, that
Awesome.
was a long time ago.
And
And it's not the
that
same
wasn't
Warner
don't say
Robins.
that. That wasn't too long ago. Don't do me like
It's not the
that.
same Warner Robins.
No, it's not. It's not.
We got a Walmart, we got a Olive Gardens.
Yeah, that's a whole
Hey,
Awesome.
different
we
deal.
getting a BJ's.
It's coming.
Wow.
Well, listen, in the 3 minutes that we got left, here's what we're talking about today. We all know virtual meetings. We all know how they operate, and we do them all the time. But these four topics on the screen are the most common challenges that people see in their virtual meetings. These are the areas where people feel they'd like to have some area of improvement. So between the two of you guys, I want you to come to an agreement. Which do you feel is your number one and your number two area of challenges for virtual meetings that you'd like to see something improve from today?
I would say number one for me, follow up and a real change.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And why would you say that?
Um, because I'm not holding any currently, so I need to have some follow up, and it needs to be a real change.
Okay, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. And that
Yes,
comes from
sir.
like maybe sending to a group of people to take action to, you have the virtual meeting and you want them to go to your website, but they're not going, that kind of thing, right?
Right, right. Or just even
Gotcha,
putting it out there like I need to. Absolutely.
gotcha. What about you, Angelique?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I would say follow up. And along the same line, so we get inundated with a lot of information, and I know, like for me personally, it's boom, 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 one thing moving on to the next, and so sometimes it's a challenge going back and doing the follow up, and even when you're doing follow up, just like we're inundated with a lot of information, other people are too. So I often, find it challenging, like, okay, am I bothering people? How many times do I keep bugging them before I
Mhm.
quit? Sometimes some people will respond after two or three. Some people, they need all seven touch points. And, it's a kind of a thin line between, okay, I'm still trying to follow up, keep this, I'm going to say lead hot, or, we're,
Yes.
we're bugging people and now they're junking you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's good that you're citing that as a need for better virtual meetings, because the better we do in the meeting, the better follow-up we get, right? So what we're going to do is when everybody comes back, we're all going to talk about what we felt was our number one, just real quickly, and why we felt that was the most important thing, sort of what we just did, right? And from there, we're going to start to build some techniques, some skills, some help for how we're going to address those types of challenges. And for those of you all who are new to the meeting, what I said at the beginning was we're not here to try to get you to understand some really new, very different paradigm. Most of what we're going to be doing today is stuff you already know, right? We're just going to build new frameworks, new perspectives. I want everybody on the call today to look at virtual meetings differently, more than do virtual meetings better. Because in understanding some new frameworks of how we approach virtual meetings from a standpoint of why we're doing it, what goals we want to achieve, then we can use the information today to plug it into that understanding, to that mental framework of why we want these goals and objectives. And it'll make a huge difference in the way that we're able to execute those meetings going forward. Ashe? And Jehan, can you hear us now? I know we had some audio issues for a while there with you, but can you hear us now, Jehan? No, not quite. All right. All right. It looks like everybody's back. We didn't have anybody quit on us. I hadn't done my job yet. I got to chase somebody off. It's like the first day of boot camp. I need somebody to quit. I need to be a little harder on you guys, I suppose. So, since we're all back from the meeting, I actually had some people come in late, so we had our own little extra group here in the main room, and we had some thoughts from them. Let me hear from one representative who would like to talk on behalf of the group that had Troy and Jeremy and Miss Brenda all in the room together. Who would like to share what you guys came up with as from these choices on the screen? What is your number one and maybe your number two virtual challenges for your virtual meetings today? I'm gonna go to that. Oh, he's gone. I was just about to, as soon as I was about to say Troy, I was just about to call Troy's
Oh
name.
no, go ahead, Troy. Where is
And
he?
he dropped off. He
Uh-oh.
popped out. All right, Maisha, would you like to go ahead and speak up for your group? What did you all decide was the biggest challenge of these four in the room? Your biggest virtual
Our
challenge?
our biggest challenge was just that real change aspect. So
Yeah.
following up and real change. A lot of us connected on we might send a follow up, but then the change coming up afterwards, or say if like I reach out to someone, I might not respond to them. Like if I reach out to you and you don't follow back up, I might not hit you with the follow up email afterwards. I might just let the connection die off and then you'll forget who I am or what the program is. So we just talked about navigating that space and having those reoccurring emails and updates going out. And
Mhm.
then we also talked about like social media presence. None of us really like social media, but understanding that the day and age that we're in, we have to stay up to date with our LinkedIn, with Instagram, with all the things to keep our businesses going.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's funny because the other group has something similar. Who would like to speak, Garrett or Angelita? You said something very similar in your room.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and talk. So yeah, we did talk about something similar in the virtual meetings, about the follow-up. Sometimes it's a challenge, knowing how many times we want to hit that person. I think research say it's seven times that you need to hit someone before they finally respond to you. But sometimes we don't know when to stop. Is it one and done, two, three, or we go all seven times? Because then we're towing the line of, okay, we're following up or we're now a nuisance. Another thing in virtual meetings, sometimes we don't come fully present. We're in the meeting, but we're multitasking, as we like to say. So sometimes we don't get the whatever the call to action is. We don't know what's going on. So when I send you a follow-up, you're like, you have no idea what's going on because you weren't really paying attention. And
Right.
virtual meetings, it's something different about the virtual meeting than in person. You know, when you go to an in-person meeting, the connection is different. And you also often leave with a handout or something tangible to walk away with,
Right.
versus on the virtual meeting is just okay, whatever the call to action is, we may or may not put it out there. So it's a
Mhm.
lot of reasons why follow-up is challenging for virtual meetings.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things that I was lucky to be in the room with you guys to hear you talk about that is that we all recognize that having a better virtual meeting, executing better in that engagement we have through this layer of glass and electricity is going to help us have a better response if we want people to attend our virtual meeting and go to our website, call us back, follow up. If we can do this better, we get more return on the time and the energy we spend. And as I said, for the benefit of those of y'all who might be coming in late, I want to let you guys know that the idea today is not so much to just give you more stuff to do, but I want to change the way you think about virtual meetings. I want you to rechange your framework of how you approach it and start from a standpoint of why, right? There's certain goals, and this is one framework you need to have, is that there's really only 4 reasons why we want to meet, 4 goals that we want from our virtual meetings. Just as our live meetings, our virtual meetings are either going to be to inform, passing on information so people understand it, instruct, coordinate, or collaborate. Inform, instruct, coordinate, or collaborate. Inform, instruct, coordinate, or collaborate. Those are the goals we have for our meetings, and it just happens to be virtual. And in these virtual meetings, let's break down the things that go on in each of those categories. So, in an inform meeting, it's an informed meeting where we're going to deliver policy or information updates, usually for masses of people. Corporations come in and they have their quarterly update meeting, some policy change, they need to let them know we've got a new CEO, or in onboarding and training for people coming into the organization, there's some boxes you just need to check. I just need you to know that you got this information, you signed and certified that you were informed so that we can hopefully change your behavior ongoing. So as we looked at those categories of challenges, what do you think is one of the challenges that maps to this type of meeting, right? Troy, do you want to chime in? As we talked about, it was either the learning and retention or the behavior change or maybe engagement. When we're doing an informed meeting, which challenges do you think maps to that? What do you think, Troy?
Mm, when you're doing an informed meeting,
Mm-hmm.
what challenges maps to that?
Yeah. Anybody on this team want to chime in?
Maybe engagement could be one because we
Yeah.
all speak in different languages. And, I might be talking and you're just hearing gibberish
Yeah.
because I am not speaking in your language. So you leave and you get absolutely nothing
Right.
that
That certainly
I
could.
intended to put out.
Absolutely. No right or wrong answers here. Just want to get our wheels turning on, again, thinking about if I'm having this goal, what are the challenges that are in the way of that? Let's look at it from the other perspective. If it's instruct, an instruction meeting is where you're trying to get someone to either build a skill, right? Obviously, instruction is education. So you want them to learn something. You can tell someone something, and talking is not teaching, right? Preaching ain't teaching. You want to make learning happen. You want to change their beliefs, change their understanding. But everything we do in sales, everything we do in building partnerships, those are also meetings where we're trying to change their beliefs. We're trying to change their deeper understanding so we can bring them into a deeper relationship and get them to take next steps and generate internal motivation based on what we've taught them. What are the challenges you think are in the way for instruction meetings? If we're doing a virtual meeting, what challenges do you think map to that? I know
Making
one
sure
comes
you
to my
got
mind. Go ahead, Troy.
making sure you got their attention for one thing,
Yeah,
especially
that
in a
attention engagement.
virtual meeting and engagement. Yeah.
Correct. That's very hard to do. And again, also making sure that the meeting itself not only just passes on information, but what happens in that meeting has to make learning happen. If the learning doesn't happen, there's no retention. Now, I can put these two together. Coordination and collaboration kind of work together because sometimes those meetings flow back and forth between the two. These are your basic leadership meetings, your weekly team meetings, your scheduling meetings, but also your developmental meetings where groups of people are getting together to put the meeting of the minds towards some specific project or a program. And you need everybody to bring their best information and get it on the table so we can get the best outcomes as a team, as a group, or more importantly, and this is very important, any meeting you're going you have to have a meeting in order to set commitments to tasks and take accountability for what happened afterwards. If that's not going to happen, you could have done it in an email, right? So what are the challenges that map to that? If you want that to happen in that room, what do you think you got to be guarding against and working for as you think about having better virtual meetings? Ms. Brenda, you do virtual meetings all the time. For those who don't know, Ms. Brenda runs one of the largest and most powerful library organizations in the country. And I'm sure you all do a lot of virtual meetings, right? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think sometimes, and this goes back to inform and instruct as well. I think sometimes we're in the wrong place. Sometimes people are in meetings that don't need to be in meetings. And sometimes the right information is not put out as far as informing and instructing. So I think those are two big things that go hand in hand with coordinate and collaborate as well. But you also said sometimes you can just put it in an email. And I don't know why people always want to have a meeting when they can put a thing in an email. I mean, take the lowest approach first. That's just one woman's opinion, and save everybody's time.
I'm hearing a couple of things. It's not having the right purpose for the meeting or enough purpose for meeting, and also not having the right environment, as in the right people in the room, right? Right. So all of those are factors. And as we think about this, as we take our mindset towards not just that I got to have these virtual meetings, understanding those goals goes a long way. So let's get into giving some of the information. Now that we have that framework set, is that we're looking for mapping these challenges to the goals. Let's see if we can figure out how to solve those problems with some of the techniques that we've been seeing all over the globe with all kinds of different organizations everywhere, right? So let's start with learning and retention. How are we going to work on learning and retention? And in my experience, that maps the most to the inform and instruct categories, right? Learning and retention, obviously, inform or instruct, that's education. So let's talk about that recipe, the recipe for virtual instruction. If you want learning to happen, it's like wanting to bake a cake, right? And if you don't put the eggs in the recipe, you're not going to get a cake. So what is the recipe for actually getting virtual learning to happen? Well, it all starts with managing the learning space. And managing the learning space, I like what you said, maybe in the wrong place. You got to choose the right virtual platform to start on. Now, there's some debates out there about which platform is best and which you want to use and why you want to use them. I will tell you why we at the ATL Airport Chamber have chosen to go with Zoom, because some of the other platforms like Teams and Google Meets, while they're intuitive, quick, and free for a certain period of time and certain amounts of people, I do like the Zoom platform because it has a lot more tools and capabilities specifically for doing learning and instruction. Some of the things you've seen me do here today is easier to do in Zoom than other platforms. So choosing the right platform for a learning environment is the right move. So if you're choosing which platform you're going to be on, make sure that you're choosing the platform that's best suited for the right learning environment. When you do create that environment, you want to eliminate as many technical distractions as possible, making sure you run that program, that platform properly. So any platform you choose to use, regardless of features, if you don't use it right, you won't get that experience to have a good learning space. But you also want to eliminate distractions from the audience as well, making sure people are raising hands, not talking over each other, those type of things. If you're understanding what I mean by that, if this is registering, you understand what I mean, let me see your heads moving north and south. Yes? There we go. Good. Also, content is king. If this is a virtual meeting about making learning happen, then what you're teaching is critical. You've got to make sure you're designing this learning environment with the purpose of what you want this person to learn in mind. That includes understanding who that person is. Because I like what you said, Angelita. A lot of people speak different languages. You say this one way to me, and I understand it, but the other person's hearing gibberish. So design with that purpose and that person in mind. That goes all the way down to your slides and learning aids, the colors, everything you use to present that information. Remember, too, that quality over quantity. Having more stuff on a slide doesn't make it better for the learner. It just makes it easier for you to get all the stuff out of your head. Last and not least, you also want to engage so that you also want to execute. Make sure that you execute that meeting to get the most possible engagement and attention. We're going to cover that more in detail in just a moment, but just for your own benefit, there's a few keys to remember in terms of getting engagement in a learning space. Like I just said, know the audience and design that content with empathy. That means design that content as if you were them, not for your learning style, but the person that you're teaching. Anticipate their existing beliefs and the questions that you're going to have. When you're going to do instruction, existing beliefs create this mental block. Technical term is cognitive dissonance. So you want to use some time in your virtual presentations to pick out those virtual beliefs. You kind of saw some of those things happen in the breakout rooms where we address those things up front. And then practice your delivery. You don't want to stumble over just your ability to get the words out and to move the slides properly so that they don't have a learning environment. You're now creating a distraction by the way you do it, and just focusing in everything you do, not on the completion, but focus on the experience. This is not an informed meeting where we're just going to try to just dump information out, check the box. You want to make sure that you're creating an experience that engages them. If that makes sense to you, let me see your heads moving north and south. Shay, that's a little tiny little, Crystal's nose just went up like 2 inches. I don't think she really got it. We'll keep working on her. Now, moving forward, you want to talk, as I said, we'll go deeper into an engagement and attention. When you have teams coming together to collaborate and coordinate, engagement and attention is very, very important. And so on those two sides, engagement versus attention, there's a lot of overlap in the techniques you want to use, these best practices. But the first and most important thing is to create and enforce audience participation, right? When you're in a virtual space, you want to do some basic things like making sure that people are on camera and that they're using the chats and doing the things that are there. You do that by doing more conversation than presentation. What happens when you just start preaching? What do you think that person does? Maisha, what do you think happens when you just start preaching? What does the other person do? I remember we might have experienced that together at a certain rooftop one day.
Start dazing out a little bit,
start
still kind of shifting.
That's right.
You'll see their body language change completely. So
fantastic. And it's very hard to see that through a virtual screen with a lot of people on glass and sometimes not on camera. So you need to make sure that you're doing the things to make sure you get that conversational process going as much as possible. Use more of the tools in the systems as well. All of the different choices you have in the platforms to use, they have tools like chat, polls, and breakout rooms. Doing those things gets them to be active, to do something in the chat, right? In fact, I always tell everybody, and I haven't told you guys that today, because I'm moving quickly through so much information, if you have questions, if something's come to your mind, I see a whole lot of information in this chat with people just sharing, who they are and where they're from, like we talked about at the beginning. It's a great place to put your questions or thoughts going forward so that at the end of the presentation, I can make sure I jump on and look at those questions and get them all answered. So I'm saying that to you now. Please, if you have a thought going on, please put that in there. And I do like to see the comments being made. Thank you so much, Shakia, for putting some of those things into the chat, right? So moving on, looking at attention. Again, some similar overlapping techniques, but attention is slightly different because attention is different than engagement. You want to use attention in a passive way as well. So attention, you want to start with the compelling visuals you use to bring people in, right? Now I want to be clear, less is more. We don't want to give people death by PowerPoint. I'm not telling you to just start engaging and making more and more stuff to put in people's faces and hide behind slides. But you do want to make sure that you got great quality slides and that you're using graphics and animations to make the slides themselves engaging. But you can go overboard with that as well, right? Let's take a look. You could do something like this on one of your slides, right? Garrett, can you still hear me? Are you off of mute? Can you speak on this? He might be busy doing something else. What about Crystal? I don't think I
No,
met
I'm
you before.
listening. I'm driving right now.
No, go
Um,
ahead and drive, please. Don't run off the road, sir.
no, but I
Jehan,
see.
Jehan, we've tried you many times. I want to know what your voice sounds like. Were you able to get your audio up?
Hey man, I apologize. My
There you go.
was having some
There you go.
technical difficulties earlier, but one thing that I say with this particular slide is the colors are overlapping some of the letters, so that kind of can throw people off um, time to time. At least it does for me.
But Jehan, it's colorful though, right? Like, look at all the pretty colors. It's nice, right? But
Yeah, it
what
is.
things make it bad?
But then sometimes, you focus your people can also focus their attention on the colors or pictures as opposed to the information that you want them to read.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're going to use colors, you want to do it in a way that enhances what's on the screen, right? Do you feel like this is better? Crystal, would you say this looks a little bit better than what we had before?
A bit better.
A bit better. Notice little small things like the lines in the background happen to frame the title just a little bit. No words are getting covered up by dark colors. It's just little simple things. But again, there's not a lot on the screen. And I will say this one little thing is that you're ever doing some presentation where someone's going to say, "Oh, please send me the slides. We want to see this afterwards." Sometimes it's helpful to make sure the slides does explain everything you want them to know. But again, less is more. There's a skill there. You work on that over time, it gets better and better. You got to encourage people to put their cameras on. For engagement and attention both, you need to see who's paying attention. So if you're in charge, sometimes you're just being asked to do this and you don't have the authority, but you should mandate that people have cameras on. That helps with them to engage with each other, but also you can see who's actually paying attention and change your teaching style accordingly. And you also want to ask questions frequently, right? Keeping the audience on their toes. So they never know when you might be going to pop in and ask them to share something. They will lean in so they're not caught flat-footed. They know that you're going to be coming by with questions. They'll pay more attention listening for their name. The other thing too is a lot of times you've been on where someone is just giving the presentation and they don't want to mess up. So they have nice, flat, monotone voice and they're droning on and on and on. Natural conversation has vocal variety. It flows, it's got music to it, especially us. So we want to make sure that you give that same vocal variety, but do it your way. Be fun in the way that you are, be engaging in the way you are. Try to be a human, be a person. Some people go their whole day at work and never get to talk to somebody else as a person. Be that person if you want them to actually collaborate in a meeting where everybody's working together. Give that vocal variety. I'm not going to go through all these details. I'm going to leave them up on the screen for just a second. And I'm going to ask you guys, tell me which one of these stands out to you. Which one of these just jumps out and just says to you, "Oh my goodness, that's a really good point. I want to make sure I do something like that." Anyone? Which one really catches your eye?
I like the one where
Number
it's-
2.
Yes. Relatable stories. Yes. That's good. Jahan, what were
that's
you
what
about
I
to say?
like too. Yeah, the relatable stories.
Ah, look at that. Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. And again, these slides will be available later. Once we do these 2 segments, right, we've got these best practices, it all comes down to actually putting rubber on the road and hosting a good meeting. Technical execution is the most important thing because you can do everything right up until a point, and little things about how you execute can make your meetings run something like this.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for being here on time. Paul? Hey, Paul, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Tyler.
Sorry I'm late. Having a hard time connecting.
1 second. Paul's having a sound issue.
I can't hear you. Try adjusting your output settings. Can you hear me? It's the gear icon.
Tyler, are you on hotel Wi-Fi?
Yeah, what? Never mind, I got it. I just had to change a few settings.
Great. Maybe we can get started then. Oh, great.
I think your mic is picking up your speakers. My mic?
Do you have headphones?
You want me to put them on?
No, I want you to smell them. No, I want you to put them on. Hey, Beth.
Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. I had to download a new version of the platform.
You should plan extra time for the updates. There's pretty much one every time.
Sounds like someone just joined.
Hey guys, it's John. I had to call in. I'm stuck in traffic.
Who has been to a meeting like that once or twice in their life? Let me see your hands raised. It happens. And sometimes your power cord goes out in the middle of a virtual meeting that you're teaching about virtual meetings. All of that happens. Right? And all of these things that we encounter and we engage, it all comes down to the way that you execute. Do I have you? Yeah. It all comes down to the way that you execute that meeting. And so there's some basic things that I know you already know these things. Let's just cover some of them. Everything you saw there, and he said some of the stuff in that session, in that funny little video, he said some things that are real best practices, showing up early and updating your system, right? But there's a few more things you want to start with. It's about managing that virtual meeting space, right? Managing the virtual meeting space, overlap with that learning space like we talked about. If I can get this to, there we go. Hang on a second. My slides don't want to turn. And this now is looking just like the video we just watched, right? That does happen. Managing that virtual meeting space means making sure you choose that right platform like we talked about before, right? That's always very important. I'm gonna stop sharing and come back. All of these things do happen and you just want to be prepared and know you know what? I'm actually kind of glad. I'm glad this is happening because you want to be able to show what do you do when you have technical difficulties on a meeting. Your knowledge of the platform goes a long way in making sure it can still run smoothly, right?
Hey, Jason, may I interject a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking, I think I appreciate, I'm on a lot of virtual meetings for different reasons, but I think I appreciate sometimes when we have these little hiccups because being a mental health professional as well, people think they have to be perfect.
Absolutely.
And everything has got to be just right. And that's not the case in order to get your point across or to be a success, you know? So sometimes I appreciate those little hiccups.
It does go a long way, making sure that you're showing people how to execute in the ways that you want to, especially in those categories we talked about for teaching and learning. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to teach from example, which, just so you know, I'm doing my best throughout this presentation to model a lot of the behaviors that we're talking about, right? So you noticed in the slides, we did talk about making sure that we have our tools like breakout rooms and all of those things available and that we use them. No way you want to come and have a lesson about using virtual meetings without demonstrating what those technologies look like, right? So even dealing with hiccups, how to flow through, keep the conversation going, making sure that you've practiced enough and done the time that you can manage that virtual meeting space to close your presentation and come right on back. It's all the stuff that you need to be able to do to make sure your meetings continue to run smoothly, right? So as this continues to flow, now we can just talk about the different things that we need to do. You do want to have that one platform you're good at, but because you're going to be dealing with other people on other platforms, is everybody seeing my slides? Yes, yes, yes. Good. You want to make sure you're proficient in multiple different platforms. You might be caught in a place where you're not at home. You're not on your own turf. So you need to be able to use other people's platforms well. That means you're going to have to practice often. Practice often. Make sure you're doing things like they said there, updating your system, showing up early so you can test everything. I was on 30 minutes before this meeting to be ready, and therefore, we're just that ready. Power cord went out, virtual meeting stopped, and everything was in one step away so we can come in and have those things for contingencies up and running. I want you guys to make sure you take the time to invest in good audio and video. These these external cameras are now not expensive, right? For somewhere between $80 to $100, you want to have at least an HD. They're selling these for $40 nowadays. Good HD cameras available for you to put on. 4K won't run you more than $100 nowadays. Audio as well. I'm using a Blue Snowball is the name of the brand by the company Blue. High-end noise canceling and a lot of different audio capabilities. And they have smaller devices like this that would help out. If you're ever presenting on a large stage and you're far away from the camera, investing in a lavalier mic like you see on the evening news, right? These are inexpensive and easy to get and easy to operate. So you have the best quality audio. Make sure you make that investment. The other thing too, guys, cannot get away from this. This is so much of a cheat code. If you're doing a virtual meeting and you're running your virtual meeting, your Zoom platform, and you're turning slides and maybe doing updates and sending attachments, you gotta have 2 screens. You have to have multiple screens. Show of hands. Raise your hands if you are currently using more than 1 screen. Raise your hand if your computer's frozen right now. Yes. So having all of these different pieces of real estate available to you, more digital real estate for you to move stuff around, makes a big difference in you executing well in those meetings. The other thing too is to treat your background, the appearance of the walls around you, and the noise in your space, just like your own personal appearance. Treat your office space like your outfit. Your office space should tell a story about you. And so make sure you address that appropriately. Having light, camera, audio pales in comparison to being in front of a junky back room, right? And all of the stuff that you're going to do in the meeting comes down to how well you plan and prepare. You have to plan for execution. And it's funny that we're here at the airport chamber talking about planning. About 2.5, 3 years ago, I actually put together a workshop teaching people how to plan events using the flight plan model. And here we are at the airport chamber. So no matter what event you're doing, virtual or otherwise, I want you to get this paradigm in your head about the flight plan model as to how to plan for any event. Live or virtual, treat it like a passenger flight. And I want you to begin with the end in mind by planning the landing runway for what this meeting is going to be. You remember we talked about purpose, right? You want a meeting that has enough purpose? So again, think about what that specific purpose is, the specific desired outcomes that you want this meeting to deliver, whether it's learning, whether it's behavior change, those same challenges we talked about, those are the specific goals we're looking for. So set those specific goals. The other thing too, who knows what I mean by win condition? Multiple win condition. Give me a show of hands if you know what I mean by that. Multiple win condition. Anyone? Anyone? Let me explain that real quickly. If I show up to this meeting and I'm doing a virtual sales presentation for my new upcoming class, workshop, or service, and the only way I'm going to win is if 20 people sign up. I spent all this time getting ready. I need this much money. I want to get 20 new clients, and the only way I win is if 20 people sign up right now. Anything less than that and I fail. How much stress do you think is on you if you are only planning your landing runway for one outcome? Gotta win. Puts pressure on you. You can't deliver a great experience for that person if you're trying to get one win. The other thing too is if you know more than one way to win, you can plan to make sure you get those other ways to win along the way. So it broadens your mind and helps you to give a better experience to your customer. Get multiple conditions, multiple ways to win, and make sure you have clear next steps and calls to action at the end of everything. From there, after you're planning where you're going to land, where you're going, your destination will tell you what kind of plane you need to build. If I'm flying from Atlanta to DC, I don't need a big long flight plan. That's about 2 hours, I'm there. But if I'm flying from New York to Singapore, the longest commercial flight that's on the books right now, then I definitely need to think more about that flight plan in detail. And you want to, just like any other flight plan, you want to create an experience as to what's going to happen from the time that they walk to the gate till they get off the plane. What's the experience going to be for that customer, that you give them enough motivation internally to want to do those things that you wanted to have the meeting for. Whatever is required for that, you got to write all the tasks down. And if you can't do it by yourself, make sure you've assigned all of those steps well in advance so that everybody shows up ready for the plane to take off on time. And once you've planned the entire flight out, now you start the takeoff runway. Start thinking about 3 weeks ahead, 4 weeks ahead. What do you need to do to fill that plane, to get people to attend and prepare the passengers? Let them know what size carry-on they can and can't bring on, what their baggage weight limits are, whether or not there will be or won't be a meal so they can buy food, and they're not upset when they get to that flight and they've got to take their underwear out in front of everybody to just put them in the trash cans to fly to Cancun. Raise your hand if you've seen that happen in the airport. Hands? Has anybody seen that in the airport? Yes? Absolutely. Prepare the passengers for the flight. And that's that takeoff model. And you do that weeks and weeks in advance if possible, right? We covered a lot of information. And as I said, this is just to give you a change of mindset, of paradigm. I'm presenting this in this sort of inform model, not so much a full instruct model, to make sure that you were able to look at this today and now just get the takeaways that matter to you. So just to give you a recap and leave enough time for us to ask some questions, just to remind you guys of what we covered today. Would you do me a huge favor, Miss Crystal? Would you read that first bullet point of virtual meeting goals? Just that first one and the sub-bullet. Just come off of mute and read that for everybody.
All right. Virtual meeting goals: inform, instruct, coordinate, and collaborate.
Yes, those are the goals that we have for a meeting. Some of them overlap, but those are the basic general goals for any meeting, virtual or otherwise, that we have. All right. Jahan, thank you so much for getting that audio to work. We can finally hear your voice. Would you read the learn and retain for us, please?
Learn and retain, plan and manage for engagement through content.
Content is king. So if you want people to learn and retain, create content with purpose and empathy. And now just makes you manage for execution on that, right? I know that Garrett's driving, but Maisha, did you want to read this last one for us? The attention and engagement?
Yeah, attention and engagement, aim for seamless professional delivery.
Straightforward. And again, like you saw in the clip, you already know it. You know what you don't like in virtual meetings. Do better. And to that point about technical execution, right? To that point about technical execution, avoid this. That QR code right there, grab your phone, shoot that QR code. That'll take you to the full video of what we were just watching. Anybody want to see the whole thing? Go and shoot that QR code. It's live. Go ahead and take a look at it. Yep. And keep your phones out because I got more QR codes for you. That's a really funny video. I really want you guys to check it out. Because we covered so much information, let me just open it up to a few questions. We got about 5 minutes left, and I've got a little giveaway for you guys before we go as well. So as I was speaking, there may have been a thought that came to your mind that you wanted to express. I'm going to check the chat as well to see if there's any information there that you might have typed in, or there may have been a question that came to your mind. If there was something you wanted to say or ask, what might that be? And I'm looking at the chat now. Just come off of mute and chime in. All right, I see some good stuff. Using live polls and surveys, that's a good point. Oh, yes, I like this one. Crystal put a good note in here. You can also send note sections of slides. Yes, it takes a lot cleaner. So when you have stuff you want to keep in your mind, great point, Crystal. If you're trying to get all the information that you need to teach, if you've ever seen somebody put everything they want to say on the slide and just read them to you, not a great way to get instruction out, not a great way to get learning to happen, but you can put notes to yourself in most PowerPoint presentations. Some people do Canva, some people do other things, but putting note sections for you to read notes to yourself and leave just simple light bullets to have clean slides, that does help. Does anybody have a statement or a question? All hearts and minds are clear? Yes? Yes? Well, I got something. Because you guys took time out of your day to come see me. I just wanted to thank you guys. Because we covered so much information, and I know you can't get it all at once, I'm going to work with Natasha, who is the director of the airport chamber, to make sure you can have access to these slides. If you just make sure you reach out to us. But I also am giving you a personal gift. As I said, I worked on this presentation for event management and planning over 3 years ago. And I've created a workbook that's $50 on my website, but I created for today the TAAC coupon code, right? The Atlanta Airport Chamber, TAAC, all caps. If you'll click on that link, shoot that with your phone, you'll be able to go to my site. The order form is a little lengthy, but please make sure you go on there. You can order that and download a copy. If you have any problems with the website, You can use my contact information, reach out to me, and I'll get you a copy of PDF right there, but it would be helpful if you just went to the website, use the coupon code, and pick up your copy of that event journey mapping workbook. Before you say it, it needs to be reworked. That's the version 1.0. So the new one's coming out, but anything that's in there is still built on the same principles. And you can start to use those principles and maybe use your own different worksheets or pages. They're all just a primer to get you started on using that flight plan model for planning both virtual and live events going forward. Does anybody need me to go back to that? Did you lose it?
Could you, since I'm driving right now, is there a way that you could put the link? Because I can't do a screenshot, and I can't. I'm using my phone. I can't click on the
Absolutely.
QR
We'll
code.
get that to you. We'll make it
Okay.
happen. I can't do it in the moment right now to put the link up just this second, but I will get it to you. And make sure if you can see my email address, I'll read it out to you, Garrett, so you know what it is. It's Jason at sales, SALES, Synergistics, SYNERGISTICS.
Okay.
All
All right. Thank you.
Yep. And then you email me and I'll get that to you. For those that are asking, synergistics, made up word for the science, the art and science of building synergy, right? So, parting shots. Anything else that you have to ask or offer?
Just a big thanks.
All right. Well, I have a big thanks too. I want to give a big thanks to the Atlanta Airport Chamber of Commerce. ATL Airport Chamber is more than just a single chamber, not just a part of Hartsville, but over the years they've been in operation. They've become more of a regional hub for different chambers of commerce in the area. As you can see, we've got Troy Cobb here, who is the founder and leader of the only Veteran Chamber of Commerce in Georgia. The Georgia Veteran Chamber of Commerce is one of the affiliate partner organizations. So plugging into this organization, plugging into this network, puts you in a broader network that extends nationwide, as many of the people here in the airport community travel and commute, and some of these businesses are even global. So we encourage you to check out the QR code there to take you to the website, take you to more events and activities that they have coming up so that you all can be engaged and have more great information like this from experts even smarter than me. And please stay up with us so we can see you guys growing in your businesses and finding out what the Airport Chamber can do for you. If you have nothing further, I'm gonna let you guys get back to your day. I landed this plane on time, and I will stay on for anyone who has additional questions. I appreciate you. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you at the next Airport Chamber event. I'll be on for the next about 8 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.